Hey y'all, it's Leah from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. I am out in the hen yard looking at some of the birds here having a dust bathing party. But I wanted to talk to you about molting since it is fall and it is that season. So every year, chickens drop a lot of their feathers and grow new ones. And you can see the evidence of this because they will look a little ragged and you'll see a bunch of feathers of different lengths and they kind of just look disheveled. Some birds will molt so quickly that they almost become bare. I don't seem to have any of those birds. But one thing that you will notice when your chickens molt is that you will have dramatically fewer eggs. You might even have no eggs. And the reason for this is because feather growth requires a lot of protein. So all of that protein that chickens normally put into their eggs needs to go into the growth of new feathers. This process can take a long time. It can take 14 to 16 weeks. There are some birds that molt faster than others, but this means that you're going to have a major drop-off in egg laying for a pretty extensive period of time. So something you might want to keep in mind if you're counting on an egg supply. Now, as I mentioned, the rate of molting can differ dramatically from bird to bird. And some people, if they are counting on egg production for their livelihood, will actually cull slow molters simply because it just means that many fewer eggs that are being laid. And there is a way to tell who the slow molters are. Now, I've mentioned this book many times, at least in the description box of any chicken videos. I consider this the Bible of raising chickens. This is written by Gail Demeraux. She is the queen of backyard poultry as far as I'm concerned, and this book is amazing. It really covers everything, and usually I find when I don't take her advice, she is right. She has another excellent book called The Chicken Health Handbook, and she also has written extensively for Backyard Poultry magazine. But just want to show you on this page here, there is a description of how you can tell a slow molter from a fast molter. And essentially, if you look at the primary wing feathers, if they drop one at a time, you have a slow molter, and a fast molter will drop multiple primaries all at once. So if it's important to you to not have slow molters so as to increase your egg production, this is something you can consider doing. My apologies for my poorly focusing camera. Nobody looks too terrible now. I have seen chickens, not any of the ones that we have, but I have seen chickens that are almost bare when they molt, but we don't seem to have that issue here. But literally, we have gone from anywhere from 12 to 15 eggs a day. We are literally right now getting 1 or 2 a day. And of course, a lot of people think that if you have chickens, you will never have any eggs during the winter. And I just wanted to point out that this completely depends on the breed of chicken that you have. There are winter hardy breeds of chicken, and all of our chickens, for the most part, are winter hardy breeds. We have Jersey Giants, we have black Langshians, this lady over here on the end, Lupita, is a black Langshan, Welsumers, Australorps, and Wyandottes. There's a Wyandotte over there in the far yard. And all of these birds are pretty good winter layers. Now both things, a drop-off in egg laying in the winter, which may be in total if you do not have winter hardy breeds, or partial if you do have winter hardy breeds, so you will get fewer eggs in the winter. But both molting and less egg laying are triggered by shorter daylight hours. It really doesn't have anything to do with cold, except for the fact that that may introduce some stress into the situation, in which case birds will lay less. But overall, once the daylight hours start getting short, there will be a drop off in egg laying, and you'll probably also start to see molting. Once the molt is complete, after let's say 14 to 16 weeks, if you have winter hardy birds, you will see a resumption in egg laying, just not at the level that you would see in the spring and the summer. This little blackbird on the end here is Matilda. She's definitely going through a molt. Everybody's a little squabbly here. One other thing that you might want to watch out for is that when new feathers grow, the quills are full of blood, and this sometimes instigates picking in between birds, which can really be a pain, because once those feathers are picked and the bird's bleeding, and then other birds pick at it, and it can get kind of messy. There's a few things that you can do to reduce picking, and one is actually to introduce additional protein in the chicken's diet. You can do this a number of ways. Dried cat food, or even wet cat food, is a good way to do this. Dog food isn't so good, because what they really need is animal protein at that stage. And dog food tends to have a lot of protein that comes from vegetable sources. You can even provide mashed eggs or hard-boiled eggs. And then if you're having a picking problem, one thing that I've had pretty good success with is this product called Pick No More, and it's just a gel, and it goes on and it kind of dries a funny purple color. You can also use Wonder Dust to stop bleeding, but I found that the Pick No More does a better job of preventing other birds from picking at bloody feathers. But once those feathers are fully grown, there will be no more blood in the feather, and no more picking issues. And then because that feather doesn't grow anymore once it's grown in, if it gets broken, it will remain broken until the next molt. One other thing to know is that first year birds typically do not molt. They will molt in their second year, so you won't see any of this if you have birds that have just grown up from being chicks and it's their first fall. In any case, that is the story on molting and how it will affect your egg supply. And you just kind of got to let them go through it, and they will be just fine. They will just look a little funny right now, like this barred rock here who basically doesn't have a tail at this moment. All right. Happy chicken raising, and take care.